What we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States.
Short term, we have to brace for the impact. We work hard to find a way to overcome these incremental costs.
If you put a tariff, you make everything coming in from abroad more expensive. That means people will buy less of it. They'll shrink their standard of living.
And sadly, look at this. We have another car manufacturer pulling out of the United States of America. It's Subaru. And look what they said. They don't want to deal with this crazy climate and tariffs. They are pulling out. They are pulling out of the United States of America. They will only leave about 10% in the United States of America. And they were going to bring more into the US, and they said likely that is not going to happen. Trump's economy is devastating America. It's only 8 months. We are going to go bankrupt. We have ruined relationships that took us 249 years to build. I want you to remember that Republicans did that Trump supporters did that.
American economy this week, because that is going to leave a lot of Americans without jobs because people that work at Subaru are currently being laid off. In addition to Subaru doing layoffs, Coca-Cola, that is based in Atlanta, Georgia, is also doing layoffs. Shall we add on Coca-Cola as...
So Subaru's pulling out of the United States. They said we're done. All plans to build new plants have been canceled. They're going to leave about 10% of their production here, and they're all leaving the United States. They said the tariff war is just too much and too high of a cost for them to deal with this anymore, and they're done. So no more Subaru in the United States.
So Subaru is pulling its manufacturing out of the United States because of tariffs. And before you guys say, well, that's not a big deal. Well, it kind of is, because it's thousands of American jobs. What you may or may not know is that Subaru has a factory, a manufacturing facility here in the United States where they build several cars, one of which is the Outback. Now, the vast majority of their sales is the Outback, and 24% of those sales go to Canada. Well, we produce the cars that go to Canada. So basically what they're saying is that we're going to end this. We're going to move manufacturing, because we already have facilities there, to Japan, because it makes more financial sense for us to do that versus trying to deal with these tariffs, which are all over the place at any given time. In addition to that, Subaru also said that they were going to start reducing their place in the US market and bring imports down to about 10%, which is going to cost, obviously, manufacturing jobs, service jobs, sales jobs, dealerships, all that kind of stuff. So kind of a big deal. Now, the last thing I'll share with you is that in addition to the Outback, Subaru was planning on starting manufacturing of the Forester in the US, and they've not commented on whether or not that's going to continue happening, but basically what's being alluded to is that we will probably lose the production of the Forester as well, and that might go back to Japan or Canada. As a lot of y'all know, I don't do a whole lot of content on the things that President Trump does, but when it comes to the cars, I said that I will continue keeping you guys updated on that, because I'm a car guy through and through, and that's important to me. Definitely make sure to hit that follow button if you don't already, and drop your thoughts about Subaru pulling out, moving manufacturing back to Japan over the 25% tariffs.
Maga America is finding out real quick that you cannot bully yourself to the top. Actually, you have to collaborate. You have to work with others to actually get to the top, because they actually chanted and supported policies that they thought was going to make America great again, but in reality they're proving to be their downfall. Subaru is the latest company to give up on America because of tariff. They are now pulling manufacturing from American soil back to Japan.
Subaru has announced that it is leaving production facilities in the United States, closing them all up, laying off the employees, and moving to Japan. And when they were citing the reason that they were doing this, they said they were pulling out of the United States due to high production cost and moving to a more affordable option. It was actually cheaper for them to go make the cars in Japan and then ship them back to us and to Canada. So that is rough for the American economy right now. We've got a lot of layoffs this week. We heard Nike's doing layoffs this week. Coca-Cola's doing layoffs this week. Hudson's Bay, which is in Canada, did 90% layoffs. That pretty much went under. There's a lot of businesses that are really struggling with the model right now. We even heard Coca-Cola this week announce that they are going to be outsourcing their bottling production. Don't quite know what that looks like yet. But Google also announced last week that it is doing a 35% layoff of all middle managers. So you can imagine how big that is and how many folks that is going to affect. So there's going to be a lot of people applying in the workplace right now, probably a lot of very qualified people, sir. So guys, let me know. What do you think? Why are all the layoffs happening in 2025? And are we going to see more going into next year? Is this going to stabilize at all? Or are people just going to keep getting laid off right here in this already tough economy for a lot of Americans?
So I'd like to go ahead and set up the economic situation for the United States real quick so people understand, because like we're looking at an economy right now that has more people than jobs, right? And typically this would be manageable if we weren't constantly losing more and more jobs every week, because right now we're losing more and more jobs every week. And Subaru, in the midst of this, has decided it's going to be moving production back to Japan in order to save money due to rising costs, which are caused by tariffs and other things that someone else has decided to put in place. When we talk about why you should always look into who you put into positions of power, we're talking about people who had to actually understand what they're doing and how certain things affect the economic state, right? And and Jerome Powell just today or yesterday came out and said that the Gen Z job nightmare is real. The job nightmare that we keep on telling y'all about is real. And we're seeing it more and more because these companies are pulling out of the United States because they're like, it's not worth it to make stuff here if we're not going to make a profit because of all these conditions that y'all have, which they're referring to tariffs, more than likely. And the thing is, this hurts our numbers job-wise. This hurts our value on the international stage. It's just an overall nightmare. And the thing is, it's only going to get worse before it gets better, as we've seen before. So, yeah. Understand who you put into power. Please, for the love of God.
So due to high tariffs and tariff-infested economy in the US, Subaru has decided that they're closing down all their manufacturing plants here in the US and moving it back to Japan. You heard it. How do we bring manufacturing back to America? High tariffs, right? Yes, how do we create more jobs to make it impossible for manufacturing to operate in our economy? Correct? Yes, so Subaru is taking it all the way back to Japan and they will sell us the cars. That's how we improve the economy. And you remember that Hyundai plant? Yeah, that deal with South Korea will never materialize because they're closing it down. And that's how we bring jobs in this country. And then we are screaming hate speech at a fascist's memorial service. America is great. Yeah, we are great. Yeah.
So more bad news about the tariffs. More bad news, guys. Both of the Subaru manufacturing plants are moving to Japan. They're shutting down their operations in the United States and moving to Japan. They produce Subarus right here and made Subarus affordable to Americans. Now, if you guys are fans of Subarus, like I very much am, the price of Subarus are going to go up because now we're going to be purchasing vehicles that have to be imported back into the United States. It's going to go up substantially. But here's what else is going on. You've got countries like Canada who they love Subarus over there as well, but they are not importing United States Subarus because of the tariffs. They're going directly to Japan to start importing Subarus. And Subaru is meeting a global need. They're like saying, we see what's happening. People are cutting the United States out of the equation. We want to keep doing business and meet the global needs. So we're going back to Japan because we can't be messing with this clown show in the administration.
Alright guys, there you have it. Actually, this is major news right now developing because you have to understand that Subaru is actually not just a car brand, it's a major US employer. Their Indiana plant in Lafayette alone supports about 6,000 workers, plus thousands more through suppliers and local businesses. For rural communities, a single plant often acts as an economic backbone. Losing even a portion of those jobs is a ripple effect. Dinners, gas stations, and barbershops all feel the pinch because the economy is all connected, man. It's like a whole body. When one part of the body is actually in pain, the whole body actually hurts. That's exactly what's happening. You cannot single out one arm of the economy or one sector of the economy actually as a sacrifice. No, if it's hurting, it's gonna hurt the whole economy and everybody is gonna feel it. Because for many Maga Americans, they thought that voting for an orange man was actually going to bring stability in the United States. But let's be real, because y'all have been lied to. We all remember what Obama inherited as an economy. Yeah, it was in shambles, but the man worked to actually stabilize that economy. Then came the orange man, did all his tariff policies and all that he did back in his first tenure in 2017. Yet people thought the economy was doing good because this guy was actually riding on the Obama economy. And then when the Biden administration actually came, that's when they were hit by the latter administration's policies. Again, what people do not understand is that policies take time to actually be felt in the economy. That's why a lot of y'all actually thought that the Biden administration had the worst economy. That's because they were actually riding on the effect of the previous administration, and that was the orange man administration. Now here we come into this second term of the orange man, and things are getting harder and harder for Maga voters because a lot of companies are actually giving up. In the case of Subaru, it's saying, wait a minute, I got plants and manufacturing plants all over Japan. Why should I even continue to fight with this tariff economy? Why not just go back to Japan and produce there and then come back and ship to Canada? Because the whole profitability business of Subaru is actually selling their cars to mainly Canada, and that's where they're exporting 24% of the outbacks that they're making. So it doesn't make sense for them in a business perspective, and that's why they are actually packing bags and going. And this is going to affect a lot of people because thousands and thousands of jobs are gonna be lost. People are going to face mass joblessness because there are gonna be more people on the job market than there are jobs, and people are gonna be fighting for scrambles. And I just want to ask Maga Americans, is this the great America that you actually voted for? Because tariffs were actually sold as a way of protecting American jobs, but in practice they are taxes on imported parts and goods, and this is causing these companies to actually give up. Subaru, like most automakers, import many components. Tariffs raises the cost, and the costs are passed down to consumers, which actually hikes the prices, and this causes consumers to look elsewhere, and the companies begin to lose billions in losses. So what do? The most logical solution is actually to pack bags and bounce. That's exactly what Subaru is actually doing. They're bouncing, man, especially since they got backup factories back in Japan. Let me know, guys, what you think about this developing story. I'm your presenter, Joel Mugisha. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing, hit that like button. See you on the next episode.